Jared here from the Heel to the Face podcast, wrapping things up on WWE Crown Jewel 2022. Just finishing up here on the East Coast. It's around 3:30, 3:40 Eastern time. So a few takeaways from this afternoon's big-time pay-per-view premium live event from WWE. Definitely felt very big time. They had the WrestleMania pyro budget right out of the gate. One thing fans noticed before the show even got started is that Sasha Banks was in the signature that WWE uses before the show. I'm not sure if she had been taken out of it, but they definitely noticed that she was in it today. A little sign of maybe things to come when it comes to Sasha Banks and her return to WWE. But we start the show off with, like I said, pyrotechnics, fireworks, the WrestleMania, everything for this show, as they do most of the time in Saudi Arabia. We even saw the return of the drones that we saw at WrestleMania 37. They were used in some entrances for this event. But we kick things off with Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, their first match since the Royal Rumble this past year. And a match that definitely indicated right away that we are going to see more Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Only a 6-minute match, which was dominated mostly by Bobby Lashley. And a lot of times we've seen Brock Lesnar dominate a match the whole time, while at the end not getting the victory from some reason or some way, like, versus Roman Reigns, where he dominates Roman Reigns, but Roman comes out with the win. The quick pull, the quick cover up, the 1-2-3 quick count that, catches Brock off guard, and the other person gets the win. Not in this case, though. It was Bobby Lashley who did the domination of this entire event, put Brock Lesnar in the Hurt Lock. They ended up down on the ground with Brock Lesnar in the Hurt Lock, but Bobby's shoulders were on the mat. 1, 2, 3. So with neither man really out of it, if any man was essentially looking like the loser, it was Brock Lesnar in this match. But he gets the victory. Bobby Lashley didn't like that too much, though. After the match was over, he then puts him back in the Hurt Lock and really shows Brock Lesnar who the dominant person in this match was. So it did make Brock Lesnar look that good in this match. He gets the victory. But Brock Lesnar looking as weak as I've ever seen Brock Lesnar look. Moving on to the next match, which was for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Before the match gets started, Alexa Bliss being interviewed in the back. A little glitch in the screen behind her, bringing up the Bray Wyatt logo. And even during her entrance, we still see Lily, a very integral part of Alexa Bliss's entrance, helping to, add the fuel to the fire and the rumors that Alexa Bliss might have some sort of involvement in Bray Wyatt and the Bray 6 going forward. But either way, the Tag Team Championship match, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, the new Tag Team Champions, they won it this past week on Monday from Damage Control. This is the rematch. And in this rematch, it went back and forth. It was a pretty good match both ways, but it ended up being Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross ends up coming in. She comes up on the top turnbuckle and attacks Alexa Bliss, putting Bliss in the twisting neck breaker from the top rope, and then it was Dakota Kai putting the 1, 2, 3 on Alexa Bliss to win back the WWE Raw Women's Tag Team Championships. And you got to imagine this, adding Nikki Cross to Damage Control might set up for that being the group in the women's field for WWE Survivor Series War Games. We're expected to have a women's War Games match at Survivor Series. And now, well, Damage Control just got a little bit bigger. They've got 4 if you count Nikki Cross joining that group. That could set up, like I said, for a, War Games match. And obviously, Bianca Belair, maybe with Alexa Bliss, adding some fuel to that team over there on that side. I could definitely see Damage Control as one of the teams in the women's War Games. Moving on to the next match tonight, Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross inside of a steel cage. A good back and forth match here. Kind of interesting with Scarlett in this. She had some spikes on her face. I don't know how she made them stay on there. They look like piercings. They were obviously glued somehow, but it looked kind of silly if one of them fell off during the match or, in the entrance, which it did not. And also unique, because Karrion Kross has got that, fall and pray kind of thing going on with his entrance and his gimmick. And I guess, anything with the word pray or religion involved seems kind of, tough to tackle when you're over there in Saudi Arabia. But they did use it. They did use that entrance And Karrion Kross comes out with Scarlett looking, just as good, completely covered up, because that's the one thing. All the women on this card are completely covered up in some way, shape, or form. Scarlett really didn't lose any of her luster being completely covered up in a black one-piece outfit. Saudi Arabia might think that she looked sexier in that outfit than she would have in another, but Karrion Kross, Drew McIntyre inside of a steel cage. Drew McIntyre tries leaving the steel cage out the door. Scarlett Johansson. Crazy that came up to my mind, but Scarlett Bordeaux comes out with the mace on Drew McIntyre when he tries leaving out of the cage door. Then Scarlett locks the cage door, which ends up being a dumb decision on her end because Drew later tries leaving through the door. The door is locked. So he goes over the top rope. Karrion Kross then tries leaving through the door, but Scarlett can't then get the lock off fast enough. And Drew McIntyre gets the win. 13 minutes time for that match. In the end, Drew McIntyre gets the win over Karrion Kross. The next match, the Judgment Day versus the OC. Rhea Ripley comes out with a haircut very reminiscent of Beth Phoenix. They even mentioned it on TV. The leader, essentially, of the Judgment Day this afternoon. She was on the outside, definitely looking like the leader in this match, and she ends up helping with the victory. Rhea Ripley ends up picking up AJ Styles, slamming his face to the mat, and helping the Judgment Day get the victory as Finn Balor puts the finisher on AJ Styles after he gets his face slammed to the mat by Rhea Ripley. And when obviously the ref's back's turned during most of this stuff, right? It's on the outside. Finn Balor does the finisher on AJ Styles and gets the win. One thing fans noted in this match, the first time ever in WWE that the Bullet Club was mentioned as they were talking about, the history with the OC and Finn Balor and everything involving this match. They did mention the Bullet Club by name for the first time in WWE history. This match, 14 minutes in time. A match I thought was going to be shorter, at least shorter than the Brock and Bobby match, but it ended up going 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and that's Braun Strowman and Omos. Another match where someone looks dominant the whole time but doesn't come out the victor, and that's Omos. He looked dominant from start to finish in this match. He was the giant in this match, making Braun Strowman look small, body slams, throwing Braun Strowman around like left and right. But like we've seen with John Cena on the Big Show, symbolic of Hogan on Andre, it just takes one good body slam, one good little distraction, and Omos getting kind of thrown off of his axle a little bit, just enough for Braun Strowman to gain enough momentum to get the body slam, the one essential offensive move that Braun Strowman had to get Omos off his feet, and gets the victory in a 7-minute and 30-second match. The undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships were on the line. The Usos versus the Brawling Brutes. And this one didn't really need a lot of chicanery, a lot of trickery. More or less, Butch not knowing essentially who the legal man was. When he got one Uso down, the tag was made. The Usos end up getting the victory in this match in 10 minutes and 45 seconds. But no outside interference, no Soa Sikoa coming down, none of that stuff. The Usos do get the victory. Like I said, the only kind of issue that would help the Usos in this was Butch not seeing the tag made at the last second with the Usos. When he had one Uso essentially incapacitated, the tag was made for the fresh Uso to help get the victory for the Usos, who immediately were told that they are going to defend the Tag Team Championships, the ones they just retained, this Friday on SmackDown against the New Day. And if they can be successful in that retention, they will pass the New Day. So, how apropos. The New Day, who currently have the longest tag team title reign in WWE history, well, if they want that to stay the record, they will beat the Usos this Friday night on SmackDown. If the Usos win, they will have that distinction. The match of the night outside of the main event, and the longest match of the night that I did not see coming, Bianca Belair and Bayley in a last women's standing match. Started off with a lot of Singapore canes and things in and around the ring, but then turned into just chaos. Went all the way up to the top rope, where Bayley and Bianca were fighting with a golf cart. At one time, Bayley was locked inside a trunk. trying to get the 10 count there, but she pops out of the trunk to save her Raw Women's Championship. Like I said, then comes out the golf cart. Bianca ends up slamming Bayley on top of the golf cart and drives her back down to ringside, throws her off the golf cart. What looked like it was going to be through a table, she missed the table and just hit the edge of the table, which probably hurt even more than going through the table. She eventually, not soon thereafter, went through the table. They pulled out ladders, and an interesting way to end a last women or last man standing match that I've never seen before. Bayley was put between the middle parts of the ladder, and they slammed the ladder down. We've seen that before, but then she wedged the ladder underneath the bottom rope so that Bayley couldn't lift the ladder up over her as she was wedged inside the ladder underneath the rope. She tried, squeezing out the sides of the ladder, but not in time to get up for the 10 count. Bianca Belair retains the Raw Women's Championship, and like I said earlier, I could see her joining up with Asuka and Alexa Bliss against Damage Control. I guess if it's 4-on-4, though, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair would need another women on their side for the upcoming Survivor Series War Games potential match. Bray Wyatt came out, and I think he was mostly a part of this pay-per-view event, just so you know that he's a big deal, and WWE doesn't kind of pigeonhole him into being a television-only kind of person. They want to keep him relevant on the pay-per-view. They want to make sure that when Crown Jewel happens, these big-time pay-per-views, if you don't watch SmackDown on a week-to-week basis, that he and his character are an integral part so that they stay just as important. He came out and did what we're similar to seeing him do on SmackDown. He said he didn't love himself. He can understand why you don't love him. He doesn't love himself. He's trying to be the truest form of Bray Wyatt. Obviously, then a video package comes up on the screen. It says, "Why hide behind a mask?" And, we see the typical Captain or Uncle Howdy character show up on the screen. And kind of that's how the promo ends. Bray Wyatt, similar to what we've seen on SmackDown, being the authentic Bray Wyatt, only to be interrupted by a promo. But like I said, I think he's a part of this pay-per-view just to make sure that at a big-time pay-per-view event that he stays relevant. And I know he's going to stay relevant, but you want to just add to the importance of Bray Wyatt. One cool thing that he did mention in his promo about how he did come from a wrestling family, and that is kind of the reason why maybe the previous Bray Wyatt wore a mask and was the way he was, trying to stick out and trying to be unique in a very, very deep and well-known wrestling family, the Wyndhams, the Rotundas, as you know. Moving on to the main event, Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, the undisputed WWE Championship, and I have to say, this was all based on Logan Paul and one lucky punch. One lucky shot could end Roman Reigns' championship reign, and I was surprised because Logan Paul in this match got that one lucky shot. He got that one lucky punch, and in fact, he got it twice in the form of a Superman punch followed by a lucky punch. This match started off with them parading around outside of the ring, Roman rolling out, kind of posturing a little bit. But when the match got started, Logan Paul and Roman Reigns equal offensively back and forth. Logan Paul did a 5-star frog splash off of the top rope through Roman Reigns and an announce table. Did it again inside the ring. Still didn't get the pinfall. The one lucky punch didn't get the pinfall. The Usos came down, but then got in it with the members of Logan Paul's entourage. Got the better of them until then Logan Paul comes out. Logan Paul then gets the better of the Usos. Solo Sikoa comes out to try to get the better of Logan Paul. They're all going back and forth, but in the end, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they were on their feet. They gave Roman Reigns the best shot. There was no, Logan Paul got screwed here. He gave him his best shot. He pulled out all the offense that you would see someone who's going to win the match pull out. He got all the advantages of somebody who was going to win this match. I mean, I knew Roman Reigns was going to win, but even my feelings were in doubt a few times when Logan Paul essentially puts the finishers on Roman Reigns. Like I said, 5-star through the table, 5-star in the ring. Roman Reigns never rolled out or kicked out of any of those finishers while they were happening. He did obviously kick out of the 1, 2, 3s. But Logan Paul gave his best shot, even got the Superman punch in, but couldn't get the 1, 2, 3. Finally, Roman Reigns gains enough offense and gets the victory. Logan Paul looked great. He was still obviously on his feet there at the end with his brother Jake Paul, wondering what he could have done because there really wasn't much more he could have. WWE Raw this upcoming week in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I'll be there, and most importantly, this upcoming week we'll recap Crown Jewel, and we'll recap anything else in the world of professional wrestling. For this Crown Jewel recap, I've been Jared with the Heel to the Face podcast. Make sure to subscribe and like all our videos at Heel to the Face.